beautiful souls, and welcome back or welcome to my podcast, Rewire to Inspire. I am your host, Jessie Brown, and I am beyond excited to be jumping on the microphone with you all because we are celebrating 200 episodes. I have been giddy as heck all morning and so excited to jump on here and record this episode because I'm just like, oh my God, 200 episodes. That is mind-blowing to me. And saying it out loud still just feels so surreal. I started this podcast, as I've shared, on a whim. I just felt pulled to do it. I felt like I had so much on my heart that I wanted to say, and so many learnings that I had learned as a counselor and studying social work and mental health and my own experiences. And I'm like, I just need to and get these out there. And my podcast was born, and it was born Tiny Talks, and it has evolved into Rewire to Inspire. And we have grown as a Rewire to Inspire family. This community is growing. And it's just so surreal to me to say and to celebrate 200 episodes. And so thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in over the last 2 years. This journey could not be possible without all of you guys tuning in and being so supportive and encouraging and inspiring. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful. I am very excited. My hair was still wet and I was like, I'm not even ready to record like physically, but I'm like, I don't care. Mentally, I'm ready to go. I'm so excited. And so as always, thank you guys for just being here. I'm very excited to chat about today's episode because I'm going to be sharing with you guys my top 5 lessons of doing 200 episodes. And I had a little cry this morning when I was meditating and just thinking about the last 200 episodes and how this journey started and where we are now and how things have kind of ebbed and flowed and my growth that has happened without me even realizing it. And it's just a day that I'm choosing to celebrate me. And I know that that seems so weird, right? To say I'm going to celebrate me. But I think that that's something that we need to normalize, is celebrating our milestones and our victories and things that we're proud of. Because if you're doing something and you're showing up and you're doing the work, you're sure as heck that you deserve to celebrate that. And you deserve to take a moment to pause and reflect and thank yourself for showing up. And so that is what I'm choosing to do today. I am so excited. So without further ado, let's jump into episode 200, and I thoroughly hope you guys enjoy. So as I mentioned, I wanted to share with you guys my top lessons from 200 episodes. And as I was kind of sitting here contemplating, how am I going to pick 5? Because there's been so many lessons over the last over 2 years of doing this. And the first one that just kept popping in my head over and over and over again, and I've been thinking about this episode for about 2 weeks of the top 5 things I was going to say. And the number one thing that kept sticking out to me is that you will never, ever, quote unquote, be ready to do something. You can get prepared, you can think that you're ready, but you will never actually fully be ready to do something. Because you will never be the expert in something, the pro in something. You can get better and be pro-like, have expert qualities, but we never stop learning and evolving. And I remember when I started this podcast, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know what platforms to use. I don't know how to edit. I don't know where to start. I don't know what an RSS feed is. And if you're listening and you don't know, don't worry. You don't have to know unless you have a podcast, but it's basically this link. It's like a QR code, but a custom link to your podcast. I didn't know anything. And that became my excuse for months. Well, I don't know how to do it. And it's like, okay, well, are you just by nature, by default, gonna figure it out? No. You gotta try and you gotta do it and you gotta figure it out. You gotta do the digging, you gotta do the research, you gotta do the reading and try and figure it out as you go. And then even deeper than that, once I figured out logistics, it's like, okay, well, I've never been a podcaster. I've done a couple of speeches and, I was a one-on-one counselor, but I'm like, I don't know how to be a podcast host. And those narratives held me back for so long. And even if you listen to my first episode, oh my God, it's terrible. It is so bad. So bad. I'm talking like I'm trying, like a kid at a sleepover who doesn't want their parents to know they're still up. That's how quiet I'm talking. I'm so submissive. I'm talking so slow. But I'm like, hey, you showed up. Good for you. You got on the microphone. You did it. You will never be ready for something. You need to push yourself past that, because that is really the only way that you will figure it out. I say figure it out as you grow. The more time that you spend investing in something new, you'll learn more. There's something in your life right now that seems like second nature. At one point in time in your life, you didn't know how to do that. Simple as just eating, drinking, walking, communicating, as baseline as it is. We come into this world, we don't know how to do any of that. We figure things out. We're humans. That's what we're supposed to do. But for some reason, when it comes down to a passion or a niche or a business or something personal, we're like, oh, I'm not ready. My friend, you will never be ready until you actually try and you start and you learn. And it's okay if you mess it up. It's okay if it sucks. In fact, it's supposed to suck in the beginning. And that's the beautiful part of looking back, because you're like, whoa, have I grown? But that is my advice to you, and my biggest lesson from the last 200 episodes, and just my life in general, is that you're never going to be ready. There's things in my life right now. I sent an email this morning. I, took a shot in the dark, proposing myself to be a social media manager to this company. And I'm like, I'm not ready to send that email, but I'm like, I will never be ready. I'm as ready as I'll ever be, so let's go for it. Where in your life are you telling yourself, I'm not ready? And I promise you that that is holding you back, and you're more ready than you think you are. Because if you have the idea and you have the heart behind it and you have the intention behind it, you're more ready than you think. Now you need to take action and take that leap of faith. Okay, my second lesson. You can do way more than you think you can. And what I mean by this is, when I first started, I was doing episodes just willy-nilly. When I kind of felt like it, they were very inconsistent. I had the intention from the beginning of doing one a week. That did not happen for a while. And really what I've learned over the last 200 episodes is that I can do so much more than I realized. And guess what? So can you. I never realized, even my YouTube channel, I didn't think that I had it in me to also do a YouTube channel on top of this. But in reality, I was already doing the work. I just needed to do a little bit more to upload to YouTube. But never in a million years did I think that I could do that. Never in a million years did I think that I would be consistent uploading 2 episodes a week over the last 2 years. Never did I think I would be able to switch from 1 episode to 2 episodes. I did not think that. So my advice with this one is that frontline, you can do way more than you think you can, but you need to start small. If I had started this podcast saying, I'm going to do 2 episodes a week, never going to miss, I would have overwhelmed myself. And when we overwhelm ourselves and we get that stress response going and we get anxiety and we get overwhelmed, guess what? We run away from it. And that indicates to us that we cannot do something. You see this all the time with fitness. I'm going to go to the gym every day and work out for an hour, and I'm going to eat no sugar and no carbs and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, how long did that sustain? A day, a week, maybe tops? Because we over commit to doing things when it's like, you don't have to shoot that high from the start. In fact, you shouldn't. You need to start small, because small isn't small in a negative way. Small is small in the way that it's something you can attain and build from. If you just shoot for the top and you have nothing to sustain your foundation, it's going to crumble. And so that has been one of my biggest lessons, is that you can do more than you think, and I can do more than I think, but you have to start small and build. Number 3, and this one's probably the hardest one with any adventure, any leap of faith, any business, anything personal to you that you're going to take on. Not everybody is going to understand why you're doing it. They won't be supportive. Some might have negative things to say. You will never make everybody happy. And guess what? That's okay. You're not supposed to. I've had 2 experiences just in the last month from older men, both I would say in their mid-50s, who have said, I don't agree with everything you say. And I'm just like, that's okay. You don't have to agree with everything I say. Because A, you're not my ideal target audience. And B, that's not gonna, slow me down. That doesn't affect me. If it doesn't align with you, I hope there's another podcast out there that does. But when we hear those things and those feedbacks, we take it so personally. And we slap that label onto our entire being. And we think, well, if this person thinks that what I'm doing doesn't land with them, or they don't agree with everything I say, well then I'm going to catastrophize and assume that nobody agrees with anything I say. And so my biggest lesson with this one is you need to know right from the start that not everybody is going to be supportive, not everybody's going to understand, not everybody's going to encourage you and be there to support you. And that's okay. Because guess what? Those people aren't meant to be in your life or in your circle, because that's making room for other people that are more aligned for you. I have met people through this journey that have become great friends that I am so grateful that I have met. And people that I thought were the closest to me that since starting this journey have weaned out of my life. That is okay. That is the flow of life. And I know that this one takes time, and it takes self-belief, and it takes working on your self-worth, because it's so easy to take those things personally and to generalize them against yourself as meaning you are less than, or that you are not good at what you do. There will always be people that are going to tear you down. There are always going to be people that are going to talk behind your back, that are going to say that you shouldn't be doing something, that they don't agree with it. But as I've shared with you on here before, here's what I asked myself in that moment of hearing that feedback. Would I change places with this person? Would I go to this person for advice on my podcast or life? And the answer for both of those people was absolutely not. And so I'm not going to entertain, I held that perspective for them of like, yeah, that's okay. Like, do you want to share why? And just like hold that for them. But I'm also like, I don't really give a shit. Like with love, thank you, all the respect. Also, if you're willing to just go to someone and say, hey, I don't like your podcast and don't agree with it, that speaks a lot more about you than it does about me. And so in that moment, there was definitely a defensive part of me that was like, who the heck do you think you are? Like, that is so rude. That's such an inside thought, right? Like, that's not really something you would say to somebody. But at the same time, it's like, those people exist. And there's nothing we can do about it. The hate is gonna hate, right? Like, you gotta funnel them out and prepare yourself that they do exist. And no, it doesn't get easier. And yes, there was a part of me that was upset, but it's okay. Let them, right? Mel Robbins' let them theory. It's like, I love that because it's so truthful. Let them think that. Let them say those things. But don't let them hold you back from going after the things that bring you joy and bring you passion, because you are making a difference. And I know that this podcast lands for so many people, and that is my why. And that's what encourages me to keep going. Number 4. Okay, here we go. Ready? I'm going to say it. Growth is not linear. Growth is not just this upwards trajectory. It is going to ebb. It is going to flow. It is going to go up. It's going to go down. And some days are going to be really great, and some days are going to really suck. But growth is not linear. Do not expect to have overnight success. Do not expect it to be easy. Do not go into anything thinking it's going to be effortless. Consistency, maintaining momentum, and continuing to show up is the only way that you will find success. Is there rare cases where overnight success exists? Absolutely. But that is the 1% of the 1%. But when we paint a picture for ourselves that something's going to be easy, and we do it for a month and then we stop showing up, you're never going to get the results you desire. I'm at 200 episodes and I'm nowhere near the results that I'm craving. That's okay. I'm not going to stop, because if I stop, I'm never going to get there. But I never want to look back and be like, what if? What if I had kept going? What if I had kept trying? But you need to know before going into any adventure or any, aspiration or just goal in life that growth is not going to be linear. But it's what you do on those days that are lower and harder and suck that is going to make the difference. There's been days where I'm like, I'm done. I'm not growing. What's the point? And then I'm like, I know my point. I know my purpose. I know my why. And it pushes me forward. And so you have to ask yourself, how can you keep pushing yourself on the days that suck? On the days that you want to give up, you want to throw in the towel, you want to be done? What is it that's going to keep you going? And my thing is coming back to my heart center and being like, I'm making a difference for even one person. And that has been what I've said from the first day of starting this podcast. This is not about reaching millions, becoming a millionaire, getting rich quick, right? Overnight fame. That's never what this was about. And I know it's hard when you keep at something and keep at something and keep at something and you're not seeing the results that you want, but that doesn't make you a failure because you are doing what most people are afraid to do. You are showing up and you are putting yourself out there and you are trying. And that to me is such a golden nugget. And if that is you, I am so proud of you. And I hope that you can just keep going. And last but not least, my fifth lesson is just because you love something doesn't mean you'll always want to do it. You still have to push yourself. There have been days where I'm like, yes, I get to record an episode today. And then there's days where I'm like, frig, I have to record an episode today. I have an episode coming out tomorrow. And it's just like, I love my podcast and I love speaking. I love public speaking. I love that I get to do this. But it doesn't mean that I want to do it all the time. There's days where I'm like, I have so many other things to do. This is the last thing I want to do. I'm tired. I'm cranky. I don't feel like it, whatever. There are going to be days that you don't want to do something, even if you love it and if you want it. And that's just what makes us human, and that's okay. You don't always have to want to do something just because you love it. I love basketball with every ounce of me. I do not want to play or coach every day. I just don't. And that's okay. We don't have to. I am so close. I keep scratching my nose, hoping that I'm like exiting out this sneeze that's trying to come out. But I think we might have a sneeze coming here soon. But anyways, that is really, oh my God, my nose is so itchy. There's little cat hairs on my microphone foam and it always scratches my nose and I clean it. It's my cat's like favorite spot to rub up against, and I'm like, who am I to tell her not to do that when I'm just working at my desk? It's like, it's not hurting anything. But then I go to record and I have a bunch of bunch of hairs going up my nose. So lesson number 6 is to keep your cat away from your microphone. Oh my God, I'm so good at losing my train of thought. Yeah, okay. This is when I try to get all motivational and I'm like, and here comes a joke or sarcasm, or I just lose my train of thought. That is me in a nutshell. But that is really my last point is you're not always going to want to do something. But how you respond to that says so much about your character. Because I refuse to miss uploading twice a week, I've done episodes where I barely had a voice. I've done episodes where I've had a fever and I've then crawled back into bed. And I know some people might be thinking, well, like, that's not good for your mental health and that's not good for you. It's like, when I make a promise to myself, I show up no matter what. And I know that, yes, we could use the one side of the coin that's like, well, you need to look after yourself. And it's like, yes, absolutely. And I know my limits and I try my best to always look after myself. But at the same time, if you do not push yourself, nobody is going to be there to push you. We have to be our biggest motivator. We have to be the one that pushes ourselves and encourages ourselves the most, because not everybody's going to understand. Most people would just say, well, just don't do it. You're sick. Like, look after yourself. And it's like, no, you don't understand. I will not miss. I made a promise to myself and to my listeners that I will not miss. And so what is it in your life that you love but you don't always want to do it. And what is your response when you don't want to do it? Do you give in to that? Because your brain is wired to always take the easy road out. There's a reason I take cold showers and I force myself to work out when I don't want to, and I force myself to do things when I don't want to, because it's stretching that part of my brain that is accustomed and wired to take the easy road out. It wants to keep you comfortable and keep you safe, right? But just because you love something does not mean you're always going to want to do it. And again, that's okay, but how you push through that is going to dictate the outcome. So those are my top 5 lessons. Again, I could sit here and list 50 lessons that I've learned since starting this podcast. This has been such a teacher for me. And I think because I don't have anybody that's telling me to do this, I don't make money with my podcast. You know, there's nothing really in this in return other than an energetic feeling, knowing that it's my purpose, knowing that I'm helping people, knowing that it makes my heart happy. And to me, that's where I place my value. And that's enough to keep me showing up and to keep me motivated and to keep me going. And it took me a really long time to find this, because for so long I searched so deeply to find something that brought this amount of joy and passion and something that's mine and that I'm proud of. And so I'm just so grateful from the bottom of my heart for, again, each and every one of you for tuning in. I'm so grateful to have such amazing people that provide feedback, and it would mean the absolute world to me if you could help me share this episode on social media. I'm going to be sharing some teaser clips. I plan on making a video that's like a bunch of shorts of all my videos over the last 200 episodes. But it would really just mean the world if you could leave a review below, if you could follow along, share this, rate this show, etc., and just help me grow and to reach more people. Because I just feel like, again, there's a shift coming. I've said it before, but I'm really considering doing more interviews on here and having guests on here, because although I love doing this by myself, I do think it would be fun and unique and creative to have, unique as if no other podcasters have ever had guests before, unique for me to have guests on here and to just poke other people's consciousness and like see and learn from other people. So expect that to come. I was gonna say in the next 200 episodes, which is probably true, but we're just getting started is really all I gotta say. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. It is crazy to think that when this episode comes out, it is February 1st. So happy February. I hope you have a tremendous month. I say that, but I will chat with you all on Tuesday. All the love, you guys.